Welcome to Table Salt. We're so glad to be here with you today. I am joined with Pastor Jeremy Fisher.
What's up, Table Salt fam?
Yeah, as we talk about Cultivate Week 2, last week, Pastor just blew our minds with introducing this idea about what it means to have joy. And he presents it, what I appreciated about his sermon is that he presented it in a way that it was not like, this is just an emotion, but really in a way that this is like, this is elemental. This is a discipline. This is whatever. So listen to your sermon, whole thing immediately. Yeah. I have one question. I don't know if you want to.
I want the question. Hit me. Give me the tough stuff.
So there's a part, oh man, we are literally jumping right into
Let's
it.
go.
But there's a part in the sermon where, because you're not talking about cultivating joy per se. You're talking about fighting for joy. And then in the middle of, you reference the scripture, essentially you reap what you sow. And the only thing that I've been wanting to ask you since I heard that part of the sermon is, what am I supposed to sow in order to reap joy?
Yeah. It's a good question. And I think for each of us, in some ways it will look a little bit different, but I'll just kind of give you some examples here. So, are you a gardener at all? You like gardening?
I have gardened.
I'm not a gardener. Megan, my wife, she's a gardener. She loves to garden.
Yeah.
Always in the backyard, always tending things, always working on things. And one thing that's never surprising is the crop that comes up versus what was planted, right? So you never plant a pumpkin seed and out pops a watermelon, right?
Right.
Nobody is like, man, I just planted that corn and here comes some radishes. There's no, you're expecting that there's going to be whatever that you've sown that's going to come up. Same principle applies in your life. Like for me, I know my default mode for my thoughts is like anxious, fearful, scared. And I'll sow these things over and over and over, get in those same little ruts over and over and over. And then I'm surprised later on when it's like, why is it that I'm so anxious?
Yeah.
Why is it that why am I chewing on my nails? Why am I thinking worst case scenario? It's because I found myself in these ruts over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I think for each of us, depending on what it is that you struggle with, whatever the flavor of the week is, I think you can identify, okay, if I'm struggling with anxiety, I don't have to think these anxious thoughts. I don't have to do that. That may be my natural fleshly inclination, but I can go back and say, okay, scriptures, they're telling me I need to think about honorable things. I need to think about true things.
Whatever's pure, whatever's noble,
exactly.
whatever's lovely.
Yeah.
Right.
And that may not come very naturally. I know it doesn't for me.
Yeah.
But it's still like the onus is still on us. It's like God has given us the opportunity, the pathway to think these things and let the Spirit take over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Right. Is this like one of those neuroplasticity things?
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit in the Mastermind series. Same deal. Yeah. Same exact deal.
Interesting. So can I ask you, I'm just going to ask you another very aggressive question.
Yeah. Let's hit it. Get down the rabbit trail.
We're talking about joy.
Yeah.
And I sometimes, I look at Christians in the church and you talk about this a little bit in the sermon where you kind of list some tragedies and like how you're supposed to feel joyful and all this other stuff. And I hear people all the time talking about, Mima died and she's with the Lord and today's not mourning, today is celebration. And I think about that and I'm like, I'm just going to be honest.
No, be honest.
Judge me. I don't care. Yeah. When you come to my funeral, I want you to be devastated. I don't want anybody to be like, oh yeah, I'm so happy he's gone. He's with Jesus. I want counselors available in the aisle.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I get it.
But no, I feel like what we've done is that we have created a culture that says, if you are not happy about tragic things, if you are not quote unquote joyful about tragic things, then you are not spiritual. You are not godly.
Yeah. What an awful thing. Honestly, it is an awful thing. We are hijacking the joy definition, and we're sliding in something that is some kind of counterfeit there. The Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians that he was sorrowful yet always rejoicing. So we know that joy is not this happy-go-lucky, oh, I'm in the midst of tragedy, but man, the silver lining here is da-da-da-da-da, you know?
And I've almost heard people say, "Oh, you're so lucky you have cancer because now you get to be joyful about."
Oh,
What do you think? What do you say to that?
Yeah, I've sat in those rooms while I've heard those sorts of things, and inside I'm just cringing.
Yeah,
because it seems to neglect the pain people are going through. It seems to just gloss over that. We don't want to deal with the tough stuff. It's way easier to just be like, oh, God's in control. We get that. He is. Certainly God can bring beauty from ashes, but in the moment it still sucks.
Yeah.
It's still really hard. And I think it's okay and it's good to acknowledge I'm sorrowful. I hurt. I grieve. This is not fun. If I could choose differently, I would.
Yeah.
But I know God's in control.
And I think that there's a real struggle because our tendency is to connect this idea of joy with how I'm feeling.
Sure.
So much.
Sure.
So much. But again, like Casey last week makes it sound like joy is actually discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about fighting for joy this week.
Right.
Like literally battling it out.
Yeah.
I'm working towards being joyful.
Yeah.
And so it's not that. You guys make it sound like, if I'm going to list it, I'm going to say happiness is to feelings as joy is to exercise.
Yeah, as joy is maybe to focus.
To focus.
Yeah, maybe it's
Okay.
not a feeling, maybe it's like a focus kind of think about what it says in the scriptures about Jesus, for the joy set before him, endured the cross. Like the thing that was at the end of the road, that's what he had his eyes fixed on, and it gave him the courage, the ability, the power to endure the cross, to go through all that.
And I'd never, I've heard that 1,000 times, but as you're saying it, I never connected the term joy with the word endurance.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much to that. In fact, I should have talked more about that in the message this week. I think
maybe you'll get another chance.
Yeah, maybe I'll get another chance. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something to that, man. John Piper has this great bit about how each one of us possesses joy, but at the same time has to fight for every square inch of it. And it doesn't make a lot of sense. He talks about sonship, how because we're sons and daughters of God, we each of us have this joy that's innate to us.
Yeah.
You can tap into it whenever you want. However, all you have to do is look around and see that there's battles still to be fought. It's this, I've got to endure. There's things still to be done.
So could you help me parse this out a little bit?
Yeah.
I know you're literally being my teacher right now.
Yeah.
As I'm working through this material with you. Would you say, this is what's running through my mind right now. Joy, I have joy.
Mm-hmm.
And joy is the thing that allows me to endure the tragedy. It doesn't replace the tragedy. It doesn't take over the tragedy. It doesn't change the tragedy, but it gives me the fortitude to move through the difficulty.
Yeah.
And that is not something that I had ever associated joy with, having the ability
Rocky,
to do.
I think that's a great way to think about joy to me is a little bit like a diamond. There's so many facets to this thing. But that's a big chunk of it. I feel like
joy is not the destination. Joy is the tool.
Yeah, kind of. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Joy is the way that I get there.
Yeah.
Does it require? Okay, so does it require? Because again, you're talking about fighting for joy. Does it require that I know or believe? What do I have to know or believe? That something is better. That I'm looking towards something. Like I know. Okay, Jesus for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. What was that joy that was set before him? It was what was going to happen at the end, that all humanity would be freed.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think that in order to know truly what joy is, you do have to know Jesus. You do have to know God.
And because I know, oh man, Just go with me. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Come on.
Okay.
Let's go.
So because I know, because Jesus knows that at the end of this, all humanity has access to God.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows what is at the other side of this, because he believes what is at the other side of this. That is joy, and that is the thing that allows him to endure the cross.
Yeah.
I can endure. Okay. I'm making connections here, brother.
There we go.
I'm making connections. I've been people have been commenting, "Oh, Rocky, you're getting so skinny. You're a skinny model."
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I am all of those things. Thank you. But
you're beautiful, man.
I'm beautiful. But you know, I started doing all this exercise because I was because of my own anxiety. I needed to make some decisions for my mental health, really. And so part of that is like exercise and diet and caffeine and all those things. All those things add up to something.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. But because I believe at the other side of this, I'm not having panic attacks.
Yeah.
That's joy.
Yeah.
That's joy.
Yeah.
That belief.
This is a great illustration here for what we're talking about. It's exactly right. Yes. That thing that you're focusing on in the end.
You literally are taking me somewhere
when
I've not
Jesus,
been before.
when he's the end goal here, right? Knowing God, doing his will, being in a position of sonship or daughtership with him, being in a place where you can do what it is that God has called you to do. That literally gives you the strength, the power to go and do.
Oh my gosh. I just made another connection. Okay. So whatever is pure, what is holy, was ever noble. I'm making all these connections. As you guys are literally seeing me right now in action, like live action, like make all these dots, connect all these dots. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's good. Crazy. It's good. Come on.
So, but like at the end of this, okay. So, you have kids.
Got kids.
So it's hard. But you have a vision for what they're going to be as men and women.
Yeah, this is great. Yes.
Yeah, you have a vision for what they're going to be as men and women.
Yes.
And it is hard every day.
Every
but
day.
you know you want them to be happy, healthy, functional.
Yep.
And so you have that vision.
Yeah.
That vision.
I want them to know God. Like I want their life to be better than mine in a deeper relationship with Jesus.
That hope, that's joy.
That's joy.
And that makes it possible to do
all the things.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that so good? Now, you know what? If I do get another chance at this message, this is all making it in. That's good. That's good. That's
really
good.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like, I don't know where I picked this up. Some time ago, I heard somebody talk about like when the Allies stormed the beaches in 1944 on D-Day, like they claimed that massive victory on June 6th, right? Massive victory. The tides of the war had kind of turned at that point, and you know, it's not like the war had been won there, but it's like victory. Everybody in their mind had sort of thought, okay, victory is here. And on the D-Day +1 on June 7th,
great.
Everybody's like, it's like morale. It's like their spines were kind of strengthened. Steel was inserted in their spines because they knew victory was in their hands. So there were still battles to win along the way, but largely like the victory had been won. You know,
they could see it, taste it, they could feel it.
Yes,
and that gave them the fortitude, the joy to endure.
Yeah. That's the idea. Yeah,
that's so good.
Isn't that good? Yeah,
that's so good.
Yeah,
literally.
I need more of this in my life. I mean, this is a place sitting here talking about joy. I feel like I know the answers to this sort of thing, but they're like the difficulty is application, right? Like I know, okay, don't think negative thoughts, get yourself out of these mental ruts, stop doing this, stop doing that. But doing it, like, that's really hard. The fight.
Because what you want to focus on, what I want to focus on, is all the things like my weight struggles, all the things I'm having to say no to.
Yes.
Not the joy, not whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is noble.
100%.
I'm focusing on the difficulties,
100%.
Not the hope, not the joy set before me, giving me the strength to endure.
And joy, that's another thing. I'm glad you said that. It made me think like joy, most of us think of joy as this, it's like falling in love or getting rained on. Like it just happens, you stumble into it.
Yeah.
But it's like a disposition. It's something that you choose. It's something that I'm going to do. I'm going to have joy. I'm going to fix my eyes on this. It's like, do you remember you talking about diet and exercise? Do you remember those as seen on TV commercials? Do you remember like the contour ab belt?
Yeah.
You remember? You just sit on the couch and electrocutes you, right?
Yeah.
Right. It required zero effort, and you're thinking to yourself, "Well, I'm gonna get that."
This is their commercial of a guy eating Cheetos, and the guy he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm working out."
Yes, and that's kind of how you think joy is. It's like this is just there's no effort involved. It's a natural thing, and that's just not true.
Yeah,
like it takes work. It's not a contour ab belt you strap on. It's like something that you do.
Yeah, man, that's really good. That is really good. I want to go another hour because I
know there's a lot to talk about here.
I feel like we barely scratched the surface. And I feel like thank you for letting me.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad I was here for this. Yeah,
this
was
my
good.
Own head.
I got to experience
this
live.
Experiencing connecting all of these dots in my brain. Awesome. Man, and it has changed some perspective for me. I want to know what you guys think. Had you approached joy as that sort of active thing? Mm-hmm. Let us know in the comments. I hope that this is sparking great conversations with you and your friends. If you're using this with your community group, I hope that it is blessing you and challenging you. Yeah. Share this video.
Share it up.
I think it's worth sharing. And if you would like to see any of the sermons in this series, they're all available right here on this YouTube channel. We love you guys, and we will see you next time.